All right, let's get real for a second. You're here because you want more time, more energy, and let's be honest, more happiness in your life. But right now, you feel stuck, overwhelmed, like there's never enough time in the day, and when there is, you're too exhausted to enjoy it. Sound familiar? Well, good news. You don't need a complete life overhaul. You don't need to quit your job, move to a mountaintop, or suddenly become a morning person who drinks green juice at 5 a.m. What you do need is a simple, powerful reset, something that actually fits into your life and gets results fast. That's exactly what we're doing over the next 7 days. 7 days to take back control of your schedule, recharge your energy, and actually feel good again. No fluff, no unrealistic routines, just real, doable changes that will shift the way you think, act, and show up for yourself. Because here's the truth. Your happiness isn't something you find, it's something you create. And it starts now. Mornings set the tone for everything that follows. Yet for so many people, mornings feel chaotic, rushed, and completely out of control. The alarm goes off, and before you even have a second to breathe, you're already reacting to emails, notifications, other people's demands, and a never-ending to-do list. You're snoozing, scrolling, and stumbling out of bed without any real intention, just hoping to survive the day. And that right there is the problem. If you start your day in a reactive state, the rest of your day follows suit. It feels like you're constantly playing catch-up, like you're always behind, and like there's never enough time to do what actually matters. But here's the truth. If you want to take back control of your time, energy, and happiness, it starts the moment you wake up. Your mornings don't have to be perfect. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. or have an elaborate 2-hour routine. What matters is that you own the first part of your day instead of letting it own you. Because when you do, everything shifts. You stop feeling rushed. You stop letting other people's priorities dictate how you spend your time. And most importantly, you create the mental and emotional space to start your day with clarity, not. So, how do you do it? First, get rid of the number one thing ruining your mornings, your phone. It's the biggest distraction and the fastest way to put yourself into reaction mode. The moment you check your phone, your brain gets hijacked. You're instantly pulled into emails, news, social media, and messages that flood your mind with stress, comparison, and distractions before you even get out of bed. Instead, keep your phone out of reach. Charge it across the room if you have to. Give yourself at least 10 minutes in the morning before you look at a screen. Those first few minutes should be about you, not the rest of the world. Next, create a simple, repeatable morning routine that works for your life. This isn't about copying someone else's habits or forcing yourself into something that doesn't feel natural. It's about setting up small, intentional actions that help you start your day with clarity and energy. Maybe it's stretching for a few minutes, drinking a glass of water, writing down one thing you want to focus on, or stepping outside for fresh air. It doesn't have to be complicated. What matters is that you do something that centers you before the demands of the day take over. One of the most powerful things you can do in the morning is give your brain direction. If you don't tell your mind what to focus on, it will default to stress, worry, and overwhelm. That's just how the brain works. Instead, take a moment to ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today that will make me feel accomplished? Just one. When you start the day with that level of clarity, you move through your time with purpose instead of feeling pulled in a million directions. And if you're someone who always feels rushed in the morning, the answer isn't to just wake up earlier, it's to give yourself more space. Even 10 extra minutes can make a difference. If your mornings are constantly chaotic, look at where you can cut back on unnecessary stress. Can you set things up the night before? Can you streamline your routine? Can you build in 5 minutes of quiet before jumping into the day? Owning your mornings isn't about waking up at an unrealistic hour. It's about creating time for yourself in a way that actually supports you. There's one final piece to this. How you talk to yourself in the morning matters. If the first thing you say when you wake up is, "I'm so tired," or "I don't have time for this," guess what? Your brain believes it. Your energy follows your thoughts. Instead of starting the day with negativity, shift your mindset. Say something simple like, "Today is a fresh start," or "I have everything I need to handle today." It might sound small, but these tiny shifts in the morning create massive changes over time. When you take control of your mornings, you take control of your life. You stop starting the day in stress and overwhelm. You build momentum before distractions hit. And most importantly, you prove to yourself every single morning that you are in control of your time, your energy, and your happiness. Every single day, you are surrounded by noise, constant input from notifications, social media, emails, news, and the endless demands of work, family, and life. Your attention is being pulled in 1,000 different directions, and the result, you feel scattered, overwhelmed, and exhausted before the day even really begins. The truth is, most people don't struggle with time management, they struggle with attention management. There's a big difference. You can have all the time in the world, but if your focus is constantly being hijacked by distractions, you'll always feel like you're behind. Distractions aren't just little annoyances. They drain your mental energy, steal your ability to be present, and keep you from making progress on the things that actually matter. Every time you shift your focus from one thing to another, whether it's checking your phone, answering an unnecessary email, or scrolling through social media, you're training your brain to be more scattered. You're making it harder to concentrate, harder to get things done, and harder to feel in control of your time. This constant mental switching isn't just frustrating, it's exhausting. And over time, it leads to feeling completely burned out. If you want more time and energy, you have to cut the noise. You have to take back control of your attention. And no, this doesn't mean you have to go off the grid or throw your phone into the ocean. It means being intentional about what you allow into your mental space. One of the most powerful things you can do is identify your biggest distractions, the things that constantly pull you away from what really matters. Maybe it's social media, maybe it's email, maybe it's other people interrupting you throughout the day. Whatever it is, start paying attention to the patterns. When do you feel most distracted? What are the things that pull you off track? Once you're aware of them, you can actually do something about it. One of the simplest ways to reduce distractions is to create focus zones, specific times in your day when you eliminate interruptions and give your full attention to one task at a time. This could mean setting a timer for 30 minutes and working without checking your phone. It could mean putting your phone in another room while you focus on an important project. It could mean scheduling time for deep work and letting people know you're unavailable during that period. The key is to create structure around your attention instead of letting it be controlled by whatever pops up in the moment. Another powerful way to cut the noise is to set boundaries around your digital life. Your phone is designed to steal your attention. Apps are literally built to keep you scrolling, keep you checking, and keep you hooked. And if you're not intentional about how you use technology, it will control you instead of the other way around. Try setting limits on your screen time. Turn off non-essential notifications. Move your most distracting apps off your home screen so they're not the first thing you see. And most importantly, create phone-free moments in your day, times when you intentionally disconnect so you can be fully present. It's also important to be mindful of the mental noise you allow in. Just like junk food clutters your body, junk information clutters your mind. If you're constantly consuming negative news, scrolling through content that makes you feel bad about yourself, or engaging in conversations that drain your energy, it's going to affect how you feel. Protect your mental space the same way you would protect your physical space. Be intentional about what you read, watch, and listen to. Surround yourself with information that inspires, motivates, and supports you rather than weighing you down. And let's not forget about internal distractions, the thoughts, worries, and mental chatter that can be just as disruptive as external noise. If your mind is constantly racing, if you're always thinking about what you need to do next, if you're caught in a cycle of overthinking, it's hard to focus on anything in the present moment. One of the best ways to quiet this kind of noise is to get things out of your head and onto paper. Take a few minutes each day to brain dump your thoughts, write down your top priorities, or simply clear your mind by journaling. When you give your thoughts a place to go, they stop taking up so much space in your brain. Cutting the noise isn't about eliminating all distractions forever. It's about taking control of what gets your attention. Because where your attention goes, your energy follows. If you're constantly giving your focus to things that don't matter, you'll feel exhausted, scattered, and drained. But if you start protecting your mental space, if you start choosing where your attention goes with intention, you'll not only get more done, but you'll feel more present, more energized, and more in control of your time and your life. Energy is everything. It determines how you show up, how productive you are, how much patience you have, and ultimately, how happy you feel. Yet most people are walking around completely drained. They wake up tired, push through their day, bedroom cool and dark, and go to sleep piling responsibilities onto you. It's up to you to teach people how to treat your time. This might mean setting office hours, letting people know when you're unavailable, or simply saying, I can't take that on right now. The key is to be direct, but kind. You don't have to over-explain. A simple, I don't have the bandwidth for that, or that doesn't fit into my schedule is enough. And let's talk about one of the biggest time wasters, constant interruptions. Every time you get pulled away from what you're doing, it takes time to refocus. It's not just about the 5 minutes you lost answering a message. It's about the momentum you lost. If you want to protect your time, you have to minimize unnecessary distractions. Put your phone on silent when you're working. Close your email when you need to focus. Let people know when you need uninterrupted time. You don't have to be available 24/7. The world won't fall apart if you don't respond immediately. In fact, you'll get more done in less time when you stop allowing constant interruptions. Another major part of protecting your time is learning to say no. This is one of the hardest things for people to do, but it's also one of the most life-changing. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, your time, your energy, your priorities. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your own well-being. You don't have to justify why you need time for yourself. You don't have to feel guilty for saying no. The more comfortable you get with saying no, the more time you'll free up for the things that actually matter. Protecting your time isn't just about being more productive, it's about creating a life that feels good to you. It's about making sure your time is spent on the things that bring you closer to the life you want, not just the things that fill up your schedule. You have the power to take control of your time. You have the ability to set boundaries, say no, and prioritize what actually matters. The question is, will you choose to protect it? Because if you don't, no one else will. Your mindset is the filter through which you experience everything in life. It determines how you handle challenges, how you see opportunities, and how you respond to setbacks. The way you think, your beliefs, your inner dialogue, and the stories you tell yourself shapes your reality. The problem is, most people are running on autopilot, repeating the same negative thought patterns over and over without even realizing it. They let self-doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs control their actions. They talk themselves out of opportunities before they even try. They focus on what's going wrong instead of what's going right. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, frustrated, and exhausted. If you want more time, energy, and happiness, you have to take control of your mindset. Because when you shift your thinking, you shift everything. The first step is awareness. You can't change a negative mindset if you don't even realize it's there. Start paying attention to your inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself every day? Are you constantly thinking about what you can't do? Are you focusing on what's missing instead of what's possible? Are you replaying past mistakes instead of looking ahead? Most people are their own biggest obstacle, not because they're incapable, but because their mindset is working against them. When you believe you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, your brain will find evidence to support that belief. But the good news is, the opposite is also true. When you start looking for evidence that you are capable, that you can figure things out, that you do have what it takes, your brain will find proof of that too. One of the biggest mindset shifts you can make is moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A fixed mindset says, this is just the way I am. A growth mindset says, I can get better. A fixed mindset sees failure as a dead end. A growth mindset sees failure as feedback. A fixed mindset avoids challenges to protect itself from discomfort. A growth mindset embraces challenges because that's where growth happens. When you shift into a growth mindset, you stop seeing problems as permanent. You stop seeing obstacles as proof that you're not good enough. Instead, you start seeing every challenge as an opportunity to learn, improve, and move forward. And that's when everything changes. Another powerful shift is learning to reframe setbacks. Life isn't perfect. Things will go wrong. You will have bad days, unexpected challenges, and moments where you feel like you're failing. But what matters isn't what happens. It's how you interpret what happens. If you see every setback as proof that you're not meant to succeed, you'll give up. But if you see setbacks as temporary, as something you can learn from, you'll keep going. It's all about perspective. Instead of saying, this is the worst thing ever, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Instead of saying, I'll never figure this out, ask, what's one small step I can take? Instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, ask, how can I improve? The words you use shape your experience. When you change your language, you change your mindset. And when you change your mindset, you change your life. Another critical piece of mindset is learning to manage fear. Fear is what keeps most people stuck. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. It's the thing that stops people from taking risks, from trying new things, from stepping outside their comfort zone. But here's the truth. Fear isn't the enemy. Fear is just a signal that you're about to grow. Most people wait for fear to disappear before they take action, but that's not how it works. The only way to overcome fear is to move through it. Action is the antidote to fear. When you take even the smallest step forward, fear starts to lose its grip. When you prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort, that you can survive failure, that you can figure things out, fear stops controlling you. Your mindset also determines how much joy and gratitude you experience in your daily life. Most people think happiness comes from external circumstances, getting a promotion, making more money, achieving a big goal, but real happiness comes from the way you choose to see your life. You can have everything you've ever wanted and still be miserable if your mindset is negative. And you can have struggles and setbacks, but still feel joy if you train yourself to look for the good. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful mindset shifts you can make. When you focus on what's missing, you'll always feel like something is lacking. But when you focus on what you already have, you start to realize how much you've already won. The simple act of pausing each day to recognize what's going right, even if it's something small, rewires your brain to look for more positive experiences. And the more you train your brain to see the good, the more good you'll notice. Your mindset is a choice. You can choose to see obstacles or opportunities. You can choose to focus on limitations or possibilities. You can choose to dwell on failures or learn from them. And every choice you make shapes the way you experience life. If you want more time, energy, and happiness, start with your mindset. Because when you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your future. Your environment plays a massive role in your energy, focus, and overall happiness. Yet most people don't realize just how much their surroundings impact them. They go through their days feeling drained, overwhelmed, and stuck, never considering that their environment might be one of the biggest reasons why. The truth is, everything around you, your physical space, the people you spend time with, the energy of your surroundings, affects how you feel and how you show up in life. If you want to create more time, energy, and happiness, you need to take control of your environment instead of letting it control you. One of the first places to start is your physical space. Your home, your workspace, even your car, all of these spaces should support your well-being, not drain it. Clutter is one of the biggest hidden energy drains. When your space is messy, your mind feels chaotic. When you're constantly surrounded by things that don't serve you, it's harder to focus, harder to feel calm, and harder to be productive. You might not realize it, but every pile of paperwork, every overflowing drawer, every unorganized area in your home is sending tiny stress signals to your brain. It's a constant, low-level distraction that makes everything feel heavier than it needs to. Taking time to clear your space, organize what matters, and remove what no longer serves you isn't just about aesthetics, it's about creating an environment that supports clarity and peace of mind. When your space is clean, your mind feels lighter. When everything has a place, you spend less time searching, stressing, and feeling overwhelmed. Beyond just decluttering, your physical environment should inspire you. It should remind you of what matters and fuel your motivation instead of draining it. Small changes can make a huge difference. Adding natural light, incorporating plants, playing uplifting music, or surrounding yourself with things that make you feel good can completely shift the energy of a space. Even something as simple as making your bed in the morning or having a dedicated workspace can set the tone for your day. The goal isn't perfection, it's intentionality. Your environment should work for you, not against you. But your environment isn't just about physical space. It's also about the people you surround yourself with. The energy of the people in your life directly affects your own energy. If you're constantly around negativity, drama, or people who drain you, it will take a toll on your mood, motivation, and mental clarity. On the other hand, when you're surrounded by people who uplift you, challenge you to grow, and support your goals, everything feels lighter and more possible. The difficult truth is that some relationships, no matter how long they've been in your life, may not be serving you anymore. Doesn't mean you have to cut people off completely, but it does mean you need to be intentional about how much access they have to your energy. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's necessary. The more you surround yourself with people who inspire and encourage you, the more you'll grow into the best version of yourself. Your digital environment also plays a huge role in your mental and emotional state. Most people don't realize how much time and energy they waste mindlessly scrolling, consuming negativity, or filling their brains with things that don't actually add value to their lives. Social media, news, emails, all of these things can either be tools for growth or distractions that drain you. If your phone is the first thing you check in the morning and the last thing you see before bed, it's shaping your mindset more than you think. Being mindful of what you consume, who you follow, what you read, what kind of content you expose yourself to, can make a massive difference in your energy and focus. If something makes you feel anxious, angry, or less than enough, it's okay to step away from it. Unfollow, mute, or take breaks when needed. Your mental space is just as important as your physical space, and protecting it is one of the best things you can do for your well-being. Energy is contagious, and everything in your environment is either adding to it or taking away from it. The good news is you have the power to design an environment that supports your goals, fuels your happiness, and protects your energy. This isn't about making big, overwhelming changes overnight. It's about making small shifts that add up over time. Clear out the things that feel heavy. Spend more time with people who uplift you. Be intentional about what you consume. Create spaces that feel peaceful, motivating, and aligned with the life you want to live. At the end of the day, your environment is either setting you up for success or making everything harder. You don't have to settle for an environment that drains you. You can shape your surroundings to work for you, to energize you, and to support the life you want to create. Because when your environment is aligned with your goals, everything else becomes easier. Happiness is not something you find, it's something you create. Most people spend their lives chasing happiness, believing it's tied to a future achievement, a milestone, or something external. They tell themselves, I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be happy when I lose the weight. I'll be happy when I have more money, more time, more success. But that mindset keeps happiness just out of reach. The reality is, happiness is not a destination. It's a daily practice. If you don't learn to create happiness where you are right now, you won't suddenly find it when circumstances change. The key is to stop waiting for happiness and start actively choosing it in your everyday life. One of the biggest misconceptions about happiness is that it's something that happens to you. That's not true. Happiness is a habit, a way of seeing and experiencing life. It's built through small, intentional choices that add up over time. It's found in the way you talk to yourself, the way you spend your time, and the way you show up for your own life. If you let stress, negativity, and external pressures dictate your emotions, happiness will always feel like it's slipping through your fingers. But when you take control of your mindset, your habits, and your daily experiences, you realize that happiness is something you have the power to cultivate, no matter what's going on around you. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to create happiness is to focus on gratitude. Your brain is wired to look for problems. It's a survival mechanism. But if you're constantly focusing on what's wrong, what's missing, or what could be better, you'll always feel like something isn't enough. Gratitude shifts your focus. Instead of obsessing over what you don't have, it reminds you of what you do have. And the more you practice it, the more your brain starts to seek out positive experiences naturally. Happiness isn't about having a perfect life. It's about recognizing and appreciating the good in the life you already have. Something as simple as taking a few moments each day to acknowledge what you're grateful for can completely rewire your perspective. Another powerful way to create happiness is to prioritize experiences over things. Society pushes the idea that material success leads to happiness, but studies consistently show that it's experiences, time with loved ones, travel, moments of joy and connection that create lasting fulfillment. The excitement of buying something new fades quickly, but the memories you create through meaningful experiences stay with you. Choosing to invest in moments instead of material possessions leads to deeper satisfaction and a greater sense of connection. Connection is another major factor in long-term happiness. Humans are wired for relationships, and one of the biggest sources of fulfillment comes from meaningful connections with others. But in a world that's more digitally connected than ever, many people feel lonelier than ever. Superficial interactions don't replace real human connection. Prioritizing time with the people who matter, having deep conversations, and surrounding yourself with those who uplift you can significantly increase your happiness. Sometimes the most important thing you can do for your well-being is to spend less time on your phone and more time being present with the people around you. Happiness also comes from movement, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Stagnation leads to frustration, while progress leads to fulfillment. It doesn't matter how big or small the progress is. What matters is that you're moving forward. Learning something new, setting goals, and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone create a sense of purpose. When you're growing, you feel alive. The key is to stop waiting for the perfect moment to start. Whether it's learning a skill, pursuing a passion, or challenging yourself in some way, taking action fuels happiness because it reminds you that you are in control of your own life. One of the most underrated aspects of happiness is rest. In a world that glorifies busyness, rest is often seen as laziness, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Your body and mind need time to recharge. Burnout kills joy. It's impossible to feel happy if you're constantly exhausted, stressed, and running on empty. Prioritizing rest, whether it's through quality sleep, quiet time, or doing things that bring you peace, is not just important, it's necessary. When you give yourself permission to slow down, you create space for happiness to exist. Happiness is also found in giving. Acts of kindness, generosity, and service have been proven to increase overall well-being. Helping others creates a sense of purpose and deepens your connection to the world around you. It doesn't have to be grand gestures. Something as simple as a kind word, a small act of generosity, or making someone's day a little brighter can bring a sense of fulfillment that material things never will. When you contribute to the happiness of others, you also create more happiness in your own life. Ultimately, happiness is a choice you make every day. It's not something you wait for or hope for, it's something you create by the way you think, the way you act, and the way you engage with the world. It's about training your mind to focus on what's good, surrounding yourself with positive influences, moving toward things that bring you joy, and letting go of the things that drain you. When you stop chasing happiness and start creating it in your daily life, you realize that it was never outside of you to begin with. It was always within your control. At the end of the day, the life you want, the one with more time, energy, and happiness, is within your control. It's not something that magically happens when circumstances change or when you reach some future milestone. It's something you build, moment by moment, through your choices, your mindset, and your habits. You don't need more hours in the day. You need to be intentional with the ones you already have. You don't need to push harder. You need to align your energy with what truly matters. And you don't need to wait for happiness to find you. You need to start creating it right now. The small shifts you make each day